down to our final read for 2022, and that will be in Micah 6. So grab your Bible, head over there, and Jeff and I will talk a little bit about some things you should be looking for as you work in the text this week. Again, the idea is for you to read through the text, perhaps every day, at least one time. You're really familiar with it. So Micah 6, tell us where you're going there with Micah 6.
Well, the heart of our reading for this week will be verses 6 through 8, in which, prophet asks kind of hypothetically, how do we approach God? Is it through rituals and, bringing sacrifice, things like that, particularly when we are cognizant of our own sinfulness. But at the end of the day, verse 8, what God declares good, and that's what we ought to be zealous for as we wrap up the year, is this great summary statement. What is good and what the Lord requires is to do justice, to love kindness, which is that great Hebrew word chesed, which really means loyalty. I mean, kindness to people in general, sure, but especially loyalty to those to whom we have relationship with, our marriages, our brethren, in particular, those ironically that we're the quickest to get rid of or sometimes hold at arm's length, rather than be loyal, deeply loyal to our relationships.
What a really great and yet simple summary of what it's all about to walk with God.
Do right by other people, be loyal in your relationships, and walk humbly. And I think that word humbly is key. Walk humbly with God.
Okay, talk about that. What? Tell me why you see the significance in the word humility.
Oh, the humbly. Well, especially because you go back up to verse 7, where I'm wanting to approach the Lord. I do have a desire for relationship with Him, but my recognition of my own sinfulness keeps me humble, and I recognize that I can't approach God with anything God needs or desires, in the sense of He lacks, and I have leverage with Him. He is the self-sufficient, almighty, creator of heaven and earth, who needs nothing in any meaningful way. And so, truly with God who needs nothing, what do I have to offer Him? And then all the more so when I realize my sinfulness.
Yeah, well, and I think that if you begin there and work backward, as we get that squared away, the other ones become easier.
Oh, sure.
I think we're more just and more kind when we come from that, from the perspective of my own littleness before God. Who am I?
Right.
Who am I that God cares about me?
Right.
I don't think we get that in our culture because we hang on to, let's just say it this way, we hang on to trivialities to establish our significance and don't realize the emptiness in that.
Right.
So look at my plaque on the wall where I went to school, or in your case, sitting on the floor in your office, right?
That's right.
People put a lot of stock in their diploma and where it was from, and yet the truth is, that's going to be in a dumpster someday.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
That's absolutely
so and the money that I collect in my life, some people, hang on to the fact that they got a lot of money and that makes them important. But where does that go?
Right.
It's going to be distributed and squandered.
Right.
And eventually it all goes away.
And so there's a sense in which I think, to go along exactly with what you're saying, to rightly approach God, there is a sense of the loss of self as we construct ourselves in life and in this world, because none of that holds any currency or significance to God. God's not impressed with your degrees. God's not impressed with your money because, as He talks about, like in the Psalms, right? He created the world; it's all His. The cattle on 1,000 hills, the gold and the silver. We think it's ours because I can put my hands on it. But when I turn back to dust and die, God's still here and the gold's still here. It's His.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so when I get that and recognize that I'm nothing before God, I come with nothing, then I think it's easier, to be kind to other people. I think that arrogance just evaporates because in the way that matters most, I'm in the same boat with everybody else.
That's right.
And to be fair and to be just, I think all of that becomes easier when you begin with that underlying principle that I'm nothing before God.
Yeah.
So things to ponder as we begin to close out this new year and head into the next year. What is it that really makes us matter? What's really important in life? Ponder this passage as you read through this chapter this week.